Please be seated. I'm not that short. Thank gosh. All right, be gentle with me, okay? I've got to try and work out how to use this Star Trek type board in front of me. I'll do my best. What? Is it? Don't put me to shame. Oh yeah, sorry. I have. Sorry. It's been 20 years. Difficult to remember. Right. Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome members to the second part of today's meeting, including our newly elected members, this time taking place in the council chamber. Apparently, I have to say, for the attention of those members of the public wishing to record proceedings, the council's rules prohibit the filming, photographing or recording of members of the public, including anyone making deputations, but there are none. If the continuous fire alarm sounds, please evacuate the room and public gallery by the stairwells. Do not attempt to use the lifts, and please assemble in front of the Queen Victoria statue in Guildhall Square. Just to remind members, if you wish to speak, you simply press the talk button on the unit in front of you, and I will activate your microphone, and if I forget, I'm sure Peter will, when I call you to speak. I'll also turn off your microphone once you've finished speaking. For the benefit, I think it's supposed to be benefit, of newly elected members, a reminder that protocol dictates you stand to address council. We now move to item 3 of this council meeting, as shown on the agenda. And item 3 is declarations of interest. Members, if you have any disclosable pecuniary interests or personal and prejudicial interests to declare in relation to the items on the agenda before us, please can you indicate? No, so no one's indicated. Item 4, minutes of the previous meeting. It's proposed by Councillor Steve Pitt and seconded by Councillor George Madgwick that the minutes of the extraordinary council meeting held on the 19th of March 2024, previously circulated, be confirmed as a correct record. Are the minutes agreed? Yes, Councillor Smythe.
Lord Mayor, proud to be the first person to speak when you're sitting there, but I just wanted to point out that the minutes that we have in front of us, when it comes to the answers to questions from members, understanding orders number 17, are not actually minutes of what was said. They are minutes that they record what we already know from the agenda, which is the question, but they don't record what was said. And I think that most of us who ask questions of this chamber are very keen to make sure that the actual minute, what was said by the administration, is summarised in the form of a minute. Doesn't have to be the whole thing, because anybody really interested can look in the at the website for the recording. But it simply isn't enough to repeat the question that we've already had in our agenda and to say this and supplementary questions were answered by the Cabinet member for. We need to have the opportunity for any of the public who want to read the minutes to see that the administration is giving account for what it says. And I have talked to various other members in this chamber, and they tend to agree with me. And I wondered, I think that's not a correct minute, but certainly in future I would like to see a small summary of what has been said, because otherwise, in some ways, what's the point of asking a question? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Lord Mayor. I agree with Councillor Smythe. I think just putting the question back into the minutes is insufficient. Certainly questions that are provided with written answers should be included in full as the written answer, but at least a summary of what happens. It's different when notice is a motion, because they get debated and they get either accepted or amended, so it's easy to see what council resolves. But there is no information whatsoever to say what the part was of that discussion that was relevant to the questions. And I think it doesn't need War and Peace, but it does need a summary.
Thank you. That, in effect, was we'd kind of jumped ahead, because what we were going on was the extraordinary council meeting, which was obviously to give honorary Freeman to Councillor Jonas, but in effect we catch up with ourselves with the next part, which is obviously do we agree those minutes, which has just been picked up on, didn't include answers, but clear from the leader, the response the leader's given, then that will be dealt with in future. Probably too late to change the whole sets of minutes now, but something we can learn from and do in future. Right, item 5, apologies for absence. Are there any? Councillor Gerard.
Late apologies from Councillor Mary Rallaley. She's not very well.
Okay, thank you. No others? Nope. Okay, thank you. Item 6, to receive such communications as the Lord Mayor may desire to lay before the council. A few bits here. Please note that the circulated seating plan for which this meeting has been agreed in consultation with the group leaders. May I welcome newly elected councillors Richard Adair, Matthew Cordy, Nick Dorrington, Spencer Gardner, Raja Ghosh, Derek North and Lee Tyndall to the council, and this, their very first council meeting. Be prepared for many more to come. I'd also like to welcome and congratulate councillors Kimberly Barrett, Stuart Brown, Charlotte Gerarda, Ian Holder, George Madgwick, Hugh Mason and Darren Sanders for being returned for another term. There you are. Right, moving on to agenda item 7, deputation from the public under Standing Order 24. I can advise council there are no deputation requests or have been received, so we move on again to item 8. Council is asked to note that under Local Government and Public Involvement in Health Act 2007, the leader of the City Council, Councillor Steve Pitt, will remain in office until May 2026, subject to conditions set out on the agenda. Agenda 9. New members, they're not always this quick, you know, but... Cabinet appointments. Members, under the previously mentioned Act, the leader is empowered to determine the councillors on the Cabinet, assign portfolios and portfolio remits, and to select one of the appointed members to the position of Deputy Leader. I therefore now call upon the Leader of the Council to formally give details of their Cabinet arrangements and to provide details of the membership of the Health and Wellbeing Board, which is also the gift of the Leader.
Lord Mayor, am I on? Yeah. So in addition to continuing as Leader of the Council, I will be incorporating culture, regeneration and economic development as a portfolio. We had this arrangement last year. It will continue, but with a slightly different title. I'm pleased to confirm that Councillor Susie Horton will continue as Deputy Leader of the Council and also Cabinet Member for Children, Families and Education. Councillor Kimberly Barrett will continue as Cabinet Member for Climate Change and Greening the City. Councillor Dave Ashmore will continue as Cabinet Member for Environmental Services. Councillor Lee Hunt will take over the new portfolio of Community Safety, Leisure and Sport. Councillor Matthew Winnington will continue as Community Wellbeing, Health and Care. Councillor Darren Sanders will continue in the role of Cabinet Member for Housing and Tackling Homelessness. Councillor Hugh Mason will also continue with Planning Policy and City Development. I'd like to welcome back Councillor Chris Atwell to the Cabinet, who will be Cabinet Member for Central Services. And I'd also like to welcome for the first time to the Cabinet Councillor Peter Candlish, who will take over the Transport portfolio from Councillor Vernon Jackson now that he is Deputy Lord Mayor. Nearly forgot. In addition, with the Health and Wellbeing Board, I'm happy to serve on there and continue to do so. The portfolio holder responsible for health and social care will also do so, as will the portfolio holder for children's services. The invitation goes out to Councillor Madgwick as the leader of the largest opposition group, or your nominated representative, to also join. They will be the official appointees to the board, but as we did last year, we also extend the opportunity to attend the Health and Wellbeing Board to other group leaders.
Thank you. The information on Cabinet positions is provided by the Leader, together with details on the opposition spokespersons, as provided by the group leaders, will be circulated to members later. Agenda items 10 to 15. In accordance with normal practice, I propose to take agenda items 10 to 15 together, namely proportional representation on panels and committees, details previously circulated, to appoint members to committees and panels for the 24-25 municipal year, the appointment of members and standing deputies, chairs and vice chairs, and appointments and other appointments. Is it agreed to take these items together? Thank you. The Leader of the Council has put forward recommendations in respect of committee seat allocations in accordance with the political proportionality rules. In addition to this, the names of their group members proposed to fill the positions are shown on the papers circulated in the chamber today. These also contain the names of those members from the other groups filling the requisite number of remaining seats on the respective bodies. Could I ask the Leader to propose, followed by the Leader of the largest opposition group, Councillor George Madgwick, to second, 1, the overall adoption of the political balance of the Council, and 2, the allocation of seats schedule, and to agree the membership of the committees and panels, including appointments and, as he flicks the page over, other appointments detailed at agenda items 12, 13, 14 and 15, please.
Happy to propose, Lord Mayor. There is, I think, only one contested election, and that's for the number of attendees to the LGA. Otherwise, happy to propose as tabled.
Thank you, Councillor Pitt. Councillor Madgwick.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and I'm happy to second. I'd also like to just point out as well that I think it's really nice and refreshing, finally, that we've got what the Labour group were asking for last year, and we've all got an even proportion of seats relevant to our group sizes. And I think that it's really healthy, and fingers crossed we can move forward with this in future meetings as well.
Thank you, Councillor Madgwick. In respect to item 14, we currently have one too many nominations for the LGA Association General Assembly. Do any of the nominated councillors to the Local Government Association General Assembly wish to step down, please? But I'll point out, if we don't have anybody, then we will need to vote on each nominee in turn, with the nominee with the fewest number of votes not being appointed. So we have a volunteer situation at the moment if anyone wants to step down. There appears to be no volunteers to step down, so we're going to have to move into a vote on this. Right, I'll tell you who we've got. Right, now the well, you probably all see, but just to make it clear, the nominees are Councillor Tom Coles, Councillor Spencer Gardner, Councillor Susie Horton, Councillor George Madgwick and Councillor Steve Pitt, with Councillor Darren Sanders being the reserve member. I know we're going to take this vote, whether it's show of hands or whether it's on private secret ballot.
Do a show of hands, Lord Mayor. Start with Councillor Coles and work your way down.
Okay, if are people happy with that? But this will be a show of hands, so it's a public vote. So in order of they are on the paper. You okay with that? Yes. Right. To make it clear, I'll go through the list as it stands. So alphabetically, you can vote for 4 of the 5. Okay, so please don't try and phase me out by people double voting. I'll try and watch it, but Peter, pay attention, boy. Okay, right. So first of all, Councillor Tom Coles. All those in favour of Councillor Tom Coles being on the LGA? It's quite a lot, 35. Councillor Spencer Gardner. All those in favour? Councillor Susie Horton. Councillor George Madgwick. And Councillor Steve Pitt. Okay, based on those votes, members, the nominations are Councillor Tom Coles, Councillor Susie Horton, Councillor George Madgwick and Councillor Steve Pitt. Commiserations, Councillor Gardner, but I'm sure you'll get many opportunities in the future. Where was I? Okay. No more amendments from anybody else? Okay, the matter is now... What do we want from now?
Yeah, if members want to debate the matter,
Yeah, okay. We can move to the vote, but first of all, does anybody wish to debate that? Or any points? Nope. Okay, can I ask then all those in favour, or the proposer basically, to sum up?
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I'd like to echo you've turned me off. probably to Liberal. I'd like to echo the comments of Councillor Madgwick and thank the other group leaders for working collegiately. This is, I think, how we need to do things in future, not just on proportionality, which is decided automatically because of the way the numbers stack up in the council chamber, but also with chairs and vice chairs being shared equally in accordance with that proportionality. And I think that's a great step forward. So thanks to everybody for constructive conversations over the last week, and I'm pleased that we've arrived where we are. Happy to propose in full.
Okay, thank you, Leader. We will now vote on the Leader's...
My Lord Mayor, this is just a very minor thing. On page 3 of the report, under Planning Committee nominations, I'm grateful to be nominated as the Vice Chair and grateful to the Labour Party for gifting to an independent Labour member the seat, but it actually has me in under Pip. And I can tell you that I have been suspended by the Labour Party now for far too long, nearly 2 years. But if anybody in the Labour Party gets wind of the fact that I've signed up to Pip, I am going to be expelled. There has to be some sort of an explanation because Pip have gifted. Okay, Pip have gifted it to me. Thank you. It's not quite clear from here. Thank you very much, Pip, for your gift. I'm very, very grateful. But can we make sure there's no misunderstanding in any of our minutes that I've joined Pip? Because I will be expelled, and I've worked hard not to avoid that. I'm afraid you'll have to do something about minutes or notes, because I will be expelled. But thank you so much, Pip. I misunderstood. Thank you so much.
Okay, hopefully we've clarified that. Anybody else? Okay, right. Then ask all those in favour, please show. That looks pretty unanimous to me. Indeed it is. So, thank you, members. That concludes this item. But before you escape, there is under item 8, agenda item 16, I've been advised by the Leader of one item of urgent business. Leader, would you like to speak?
Yes, thank you, my Lord Mayor. Carrying on in the spirit of being collegiate, Councillor Bowshaw approached me about wanting to raise an urgent question today. The mechanism by which we do that is that I have to raise the subject and then he can respond with a question. So I'm raising the subject that yet again we have roadworks on the Eastern Road provided by our good friends at Southern Water for 4 whole weeks while they replace yet another bit of sewer that's collapsed, this time 600 metres of it. All members should be aware because an update note was sent out by the Assistant Director a couple of days ago informing people that the closure will last for 4 weeks, that it will replace 600 metres. Can we all pray that the next bit's okay? And that there will be an adjustment for D-Day, but I believe, so the works will be suspended, but I believe Councillor Bowshaw wishes to raise another concern.
Thank you, Councillor Pitt. Councillor Bowshaw.
Thank you very much, Lord Mayor. I'd like to share the Leader's optimism, but I suspect in 2025 it'll be Velda Avenue and 2026 it'll be Henderson Road as we move forward the way they're going. I actually have 2 questions. The first is around, and it's been raised as quite a concern, certainly in the north of the city, that we are in GCSE season. And certainly coming down this morning, as I did about that sort of time, Eastern Road was gridlocked, M275 is gridlocked. I just want to try and understand what communication has been put in place for the schools, certainly to address the fact that quite clearly if a pupil turns up late for an exam, they can't sit it. So I need to understand what's happening there. The second one actually came to me late last night, and I had several people contact me that actually cycle the Eastern Road, and we're closing the side that is traditionally cycled in favour of the other side, and a lot of concerns has been raised. And I know it's a small issue, but it's certainly a significant one in that they don't tend to use that side of the road because of a lot of overhanging shrubbery and whatever, which is quite dangerous, and therefore could we also look to see whether over this period there is some sort of mitigation work that could be done to accommodate those cyclists that use the facility? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bosher, for both questions, and thank you for sharing the question in advance so I could actually give you a proper answer. The education team do a weekly bulletin that goes out to all the schools, and they specifically featured last week a note to draw attention to the fact that the works are now happening on the Eastern Road, and to remind, they specifically said to remind anyone who was doing any exams that they needed to leave significant additional time in order to be able to reach their destination in a timely manner. They didn't leave it at that. They actually put another note out yesterday as well. So the council has worked with the Transport Department to get a clear idea of what's going on. That's a regular thing that they do if issues do crop up, and that notifications have gone out to every single school twice in the last few days. On the other matter, usually at some point during the this time of year, Colas do go along with a big strimmer and cut that foliage back. But if we could make a note, please, that we approach Colas, Natalie, thank you, and ask them to bring that forward, because actually if that was done probably next week, it will make life easier for those cyclists and pedestrians for the duration of those works. The reason that they've had to swap sides is the bit that they're now lining with this sleeve that goes in directly impacts the cycle and pedestrian footpath.
Thank you, Councillor Pitt. Are there any further questions on this item from the relevant opposition spokespersons? Nope. Okay, that concludes that item. Moving on to agenda item 17, questions from members under Standing Order 17. We have received no questions from members under the provisions of this standing order. So, agenda item 18, dates for City Council meetings. Members, the dates and times for council meetings for the next municipal year, and the principal, the dates of the council meetings for 25-26 have been previously circulated. Leader, do you wish to propose these dates? Councillor Madgwick, do you wish to second them? Over to you, chaps.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Yes, happy to propose and draw members' attention in particular to the date on the 28th of May. Those of us who've been around a while know that normally after this meeting we don't meet until July, but we do have the local plan to consider, and there's a one-item agenda there on the 28th of May to do so. Happy to recommend all of the dates as proposed.
Thank you, Councillor Pitt. Councillor Madgwick.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Yes, happy to second.
Councillor Bosher.
Just a quick question, Lord Mayor, on that, just for clarity. It says to commence at 2 p.m. unless otherwise indicated. My diary says the 28th of May starts at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, thanks for picking up on that, Councillor Bosher. You confirm it is actually indeed 5 p.m. So make a note, members, 5 p.m. Right, well, there you are. That's it, it's finished. Okay, so that concludes the business.
To vote to agree the dates.
Oh, no.
Propose and second.
Well, I almost got it right. Come on, give me a chance at the first meeting. Do we all agree? Thank you very much. So that does conclude today's business, okay? I think there was some food left, actually, in the parlour. I invited some guests back, and not many people seem to turn up, so I hope it's not a reflection on me already. I guess you can waddle into the parlour if you want and see if there's anything left. Pick over the bones of it, and I'll see you next time round. Okay? Thank you. Thank you.